Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we start 3.8. We're going to be adding and subtracting fractions today. I'm so excited because we get into fractions. All right, so let's get started. So the very first thing I want you to do is find the LCM. Somebody raise their hand, tell me what LCM stands for. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, least common multiple, absolutely. Good job. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to find the least common multiple between all of these two numbers. So ready, set, go. All right, so now after that pause, here we go. Least common multiple. All right, so the very first thing we have to do is set it up as a table. Remember these wonderful tables, these wonderful charts? So, whoa, that is an ugly 8. Okay, so when we look at this, all right, we're going to put our line here. We're going to put our 8 on top. We're going to put our 12 on top. What number is going to both 8 and 12? 8 and 12. Well, I know that 4 goes into both of them. 4. 8 divided by 4, 2. 12 divided by 4, 3. That was not a 3. Let's erase that. Here's a 3. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. Now, is there a number that goes into both 2 and 3? No, besides 1 there is not. So what do? We take these and we multiply them straight across. So you get 4 times 2 times 3. Your LCM equals 24. Good. Second one, 10 and 12. When I do this, I get 10, 12. All right. Now, is there a number that goes into both 10 and 12? You betcha there is. It's going to be 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 12 divided by 2, 6. Is there a number that goes into both 5 and 6? No. So we're done there. What we have to do, multiply these last ones. So if you take 2 times 5 times 6, 2 times 5 is what? 10. 10 times 6, LCM equals 60. All right, you might be getting the LCM today when we look at this because it will help us get into simplest form fractions. We talked about that, simplest form fractions. But today we're going to be adding and subtracting between the fractions, which is always a great thing to know. It's always a great thing to know. So, learn to add and subtract fractions. All right, here we go. So the very first thing we need to do is if I look at this, if I'm adding here, it says add and write the answer in simplest form. All of your fractions need to be in simplest form. Okay, I want you to memorize that simplest form aspect because they all need to be in simplest form. Simplest form, simplest form, simplest form, simplest form, simplest form, simplest form, simplest form. Okay, so next thing I do, when I look at these two fractions, if I have a common denominator, I want to have a bottom number to be the same. When my bottom number is the same, I just add my numerators in this. Okay, so if I take 5/8 plus 1/8, I have the same denominator, that same bottom number. I get 6, and my denominator stays the same as 8. So I get 6/8. Am I done? No, we're not done. How can you think we're done? Don't forget, what do we need to do? Simplest form. Simplest form. Okay, so we need to get it into simplest form. So how could I get this into simplest form? Well, I can take 2 into both of these, divide by 2, and I get my answer of 3/4. And I'm done then. Okay, check to see if we have a common denominator. Get that common denominator. Add between the numerators. Keep the denominator. Double check to see if it's in simplest form. Got it? Awesome. I want you to try this one where it's 9/11 minus 4/11. Make sure you write everything down, including directions. So pause and write. All right, here we go. So we have 9/11 minus 4/11. Very first thing I need to do, check to see if we have common denominator. Do we? Yep. So I just subtract straight across. 9 minus 4 is 5. Keep the same denominator. I get 5/11. Is it in simplest form? You betcha. 5/11 is my answer. Sweet. Easy. Next. Okay. Add between these two. Make sure it is in simplest form. Go for it. Pause now. All right. So when you look at this, again, do I have a common denominator here? Yep, absolutely. Have a common denominator, which means if I look at that, I can add my numerators. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 over 6, because I keep the same denominator through the entire thing. Look at that. I keep that same denominator until the end. So now I have 6/6. Am I done? No, I'm not done. 6 divided by 6, I can simplify that. What is my answer? 1. 1. So again, be asking yourself at the end, is this in simplest form? If it's in simplest form, you're done. If it's not, finish it into simplest form. Okay? Make sure you have a common denominator, which leads me into this problem. Make sure you write this down. So pause and write this down, then I will explain. All right, so it says to add or subtract fractions with different denominators. You must rewrite the fractions with a common denominator. Common denominator. Okay, you need to have a common denominator. What does it mean to have a common denominator? Well, it means that you need to have the same bottom number. Of course, okay, have that same bottom number always. All right? So the very first thing I see here, okay, I'm going to add. All right, then it says write the answer in simplest form. Second thing I see here is two fractions. Okay, as I look at this, let's add straight across. We can't add straight across. Why can't I add straight across? Tell your partner right now why I can't add straight across. I'll wait. Come on, you can tell. Tell one more person. Good job. Because we do not have a common denominator. Right there. No common denominator. Okay? So as you look at this, I have a 6 and an 8, and I need to find a common denominator. How I find a common denominator is by multiplying so they have a common multiple. Okay? Again, a common multiple. One of the easiest ways that a lot of people like to do is they like to just take 6 times 8. Okay? Yes, absolutely that works. And I'm going to show you one other thing. If you take 6 times 8, you get 48. Okay, so I'm going to show you this quickly. All right, so 6 times 8 is 48. How did I get from 6 to 48? I multiplied by 8, so what I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. Okay, so I need to multiply by 8, so I get 40 here. On the other side, how did I get from 8 to 48? I multiplied by 6, so I need to add here. I need to put in my 42. Okay, now if you look at this, I have a common denominator of 48. I have my two numerators, which I got from multiplying by the same number I multiplied my denominators by. Okay, if you look at these two fractions on the side right here, okay, I multiplied this 6 by 8, which means I had to multiply my 5 by 8. I multiplied this 8 by 6, which means I had to multiply the 7 by 6. Okay, adding straight across, my answer will be 82 over 48. Okay, now I can simplify this, and I am okay, I will say this again, I am okay if you leave it as an improper fraction. However, it needs to be the simplest form improper fraction. Okay, so when you do this, if I look at this, I can simplify this answer into divide by 2, divide by 2. I get 24 over 40, or 41 over 24. I can leave it as that answer. I am okay with seeing that answer. If you want to change it, it would be as a mixed number, 1 and 17/24. Okay, I will also accept that. However, you can leave it as that 41/24 so you don't get a different step. Now, the other way you may have seen this, if I give you 5/6 plus 7/8 again, you may notice that 6 and 8 have a common multiple of 24. Okay, meaning 6 times a number can get to 24, and 8 times a number can get to 24. If you look at this, 6 times 4 is 24. All right? 8 times 3 is 24. So I got here a little bit quicker, okay, because I knew my multiples. Now, if I look at this, again, whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. So I'm going to multiply by 4. 5 times 4 is 20. That's where I got that. 7 times 3 is 21. Don't start. Okay, and when you do this, now we can add. If I take 20 over 24 plus 21 over 24, you get 41 over 24. Again, the exact same answer, but if you notice, I didn't have to simplify at the end. So if you can come up with a fraction or a number that a common denominator that's also a common multiple where you're not multiplying straight across like I did in the first example up here, that is okay, and it might be a little bit quicker. I'm okay with both, but again, you can simplify earlier. All right? Let's try one on your own. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to subtract. Again, you need to find a what? Common denominator. Find a common denominator. Okay, get this done, everybody. Write the answer in simplest form. Pause now. All right, so when you look at this, here we go. If I want to get this into my answer, all right, I want to get this problem into my answer. Can I just add straight across right now to get a negative 1 over 1? No, don't do that. You need to have a common denominator. Common denominator. Okay, how could you find a common denominator between 3 and 12? Or sorry, 3 and 4. I gave you the answer. Okay, it is 12. Okay, so I'm going to restart this as a new fraction. So, denominator is 12. How did I get, my question is, how did I get from this 3 to that 12? I multiplied by 4. Okay, what I do to the the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. So I need to multiply this by 4 to get 8. All right? How do I get from 4 to 12? Multiply by 3. Okay, if I multiply the denominator by 3, I also have to multiply the numerator by 3. 3 times 3, 9. Now, what operation am I doing between them? Well, there's a lot of junk here, Mr. Sheeman, so let's reverse a little bit. Okay, if you see that, you get that negative or that minus sign in there. So we put our minus sign. Negative 8 twelfths minus 9 twelfths. Can we do it? Yeah, we've learned negative numbers. It is a negative 1 over 12. There is your answer. Remember, we kept the same denominator. All right? Next one, we're going to have a negative in there. So, okay, let's try the next one. All right, there you go. Write the answer in simplest form. Pause the video. Try this one on your own. If you have questions, make sure you ask. Pause and go. Okay, so here we go. We are going to add. We're adding here. But can I add right away? No, I need a common denominator here. Common denominator. Okay, my common denominator between these two is 21. Don't even start. Times 3 times 7 here. I multiplied those two together. Again, there's my common denominator. How did I get there? Well, I took 7 times 3 to get there, so I need my numerator needs to multiply by 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Don't forget this is negative. Negative. My negative symbol went right in there. Then I have 1/3. How did I get from 3 to 21? I multiplied by 7 equals negative 6/21 over, or negative 6 over 21 plus 7 over 21 When you look at this, my answer adds straight across. I get a positive 1 over 21. 21? Okay, there we go. So 1 over 21. There's your answer. All right? Again, if you have questions, make sure you ask. Next problem. Yes, here it is. You do need to write this down. All right, so make sure you write this down. What I want you to do is I want you to see if you can answer this problem without me giving you any hints. So try to figure out how to do this problem. It does not matter if you get it absolutely correct. I want you to try it. Everybody should try this problem. If you're confused, maybe ask somebody for help. That's always a good thing. But I want you to try to get this problem correct, and we'll see if you do it. Okay? So pause now. Go ahead. All right. It says, in 1 Earth year, Jupiter completes about 1/12 of its orbit around the sun, while Mars completes about 1/2 of its orbit. How much more of its orbit does Mars complete than Jupiter? All right. So what do you think we have to do? Well, when we want to figure out how much more of its orbit Mars completes than Jupiter, Mars and Jupiter, I am going to take 1/2 and subtract 1/12. Okay, so 1/2 minus 1/12. Now, can I do this problem? No, I cannot do this problem. Why? I do not have a common denominator. Okay, so what would the easiest common denominator be, do you think? How about that one? 12. If you look at 12, 2 can go into 12 how many times? 2 times what would equal 12? 6. So you can take this and multiply by 6 to get to 12. That way, I don't have to change this 1/12. I don't have to worry about it. Okay, I can leave 1/12 as the same because it's already got a denominator, the denominator I want. So I can leave 1/12 as the same. On the other side, I need to change this 1/2. And I do that by multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by 6. I get that. So I get 6/12 minus 1/12. My answer is 5/12. Remember, story problem. So what do I have to do? I have a label, but what's my label? This one's kind of a confusing one. What's my label? Well, Mars completes 5/12 more of its orbit than Jupiter. So you have your label. So it completes 5/12 more of its orbit. Okay? All right, so if you have questions, you can always look in the book a little bit. Again, we're on section 3.8. Here is your homework. It is page 188 to 189. It is 2 through 36 evens. You are also doing numbers 46 and 48. 46 and 48. You don't have to do 46, 47, 48, just those two. All right, I hope you all have a fantastic day. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.